realized that there were so many reasons you could love her. God had gifted her in so many ways, and to that end, I would like to read the amazing liturgy, the amazing account of her life that Kathleen and Scott submitted to me, that was written by Lucy and Kathleen. These words and the words we spoke truly made me realize that I have missed out on an incredible gift that you've all received, the gift of the love and the friendship of Ruth Pardey. I read her beautiful eulogy written by Lucy and Kathleen. We are also very happy each one of you is here today to celebrate the wonderful life of Miss Rosa Ruth Voget Pardey. The sun is shining upon us just like Ruth's sunshine that she gave each and every one of us. We are truly grateful to have known Ruth and to have her radiant love within us all. All it took was first an introduction, and she was a source of that light that was never forgotten to anyone lucky enough to know her. She was unique in so many ways it would be impossible to list. She had a special superpower. She had the ability to see others in perfect wholeness and capture their strengths. She never passed up an opportunity to let you know exactly what she saw in you. She painted a picture of your soul, the best qualities we each hold, and like poetry, she would describe you. She would humble you with her words. We would feel as if we were only a fraction of the greatness in which she had painted. Her words left us aspiring to be the best versions of ourselves. What an amazing superpower she had. She also thanked everyone for whatever amount of time or effort they ever made to be present in her life. Her journey began in rural Oregon, where she spent early life helping out in the creamery, where she fondly remembered leaving school midday to wrap butter. Ruth was the youngest of six children. Ed, Helen, Agatha, Garfield, and Frida were her older siblings, whom she adored. She was very proud of her family, and she committed herself to keeping bonds no matter what the distance or the challenge. Her brother Garfield passed away when she was a young adult. Garfield had a daughter, Connie, and a son, Gary, on the way. Ruth led by example what family looked like and felt like by her commitment to Connie and Gary, and that they would always be included as part of the Voget family. Gary may never have met his father, and Connie too was too young to remember him, but they and their children knew that they were a part of the loved Voget family. Ruth has the same connection with all of her nieces and nephews. Many of them can share stories of Aunt Ruth, swooping in and caring for them as if they were her own children. She was no stranger to travel. She embraced an opportunity to hop on a plane and go traveling around the world more than one time. Her thirst for adventure was quenched by moving to Pasadena, her junior year of high school, where she fondly remembers graduating in the Rose Bowl. Afterwards, she moved to Portland with her sister Frida, and as a young woman, she enjoyed the adventures of living with her sister, as well as being a nanny for the local doctor and his wife. Ruth's parents were admirable in the way they protected their children, their structure, and their conservative values, while they encouraged them to be independent and grow. Ruth always spoke of her father with respect. Even if he had the means to give to her, he taught her the value of earning and saving and being mindful of others. Ruth was in her parents' home the day she saw a tall, handsome young man sitting at the kitchen table. Herm, a friend of the family, was visiting from Aurora. The conversation between Ruth and Herm led to one date, and then Herm needed to return to flying as a pilot in the Air Force. That year was 1943. World War II was 2 years from ending, and Herm was committed to making Ruth his wife. While they had some correspondence, it was in May of 1944 that Herm requested for Ruth to join him in Colorado to get married. She took a train to marry a man she had only had one date with. A year later, they had their first child, Rodney, and a child every 4 years after, Craig, David, Cindy. And then their surprise baby, 8 years later, Kathleen, the baby. Ruth made the decision early in the morning in the marriage that stability for the family and not moving around the world in the military was in her best interest. While Herm remained committed to his military obligations, Ruth was the head of the household and ran the family with confidence and structure. She loved her 5 children so much. She was always there for them in every way possible. She always kept their interests close to her heart and helped them fulfill their dreams and their wishes. She always said that she was there for each one of her chicks in different ways. She loved each one the same, and her children could always count on her no matter what the time or the place. She was someone in your corner with endless love and support always. She showed what unconditional love is really all about. She was also a marvelous cook. She knew how to watch her pennies and still made a delicious meal for her family. Then along came her grandchildren. Ruth was thrilled to have 8 amazing grandchildren: Rod, Ryan, Lucy, David, Eric, Ryan, Christine, and Nicholas. She absolutely loved seeing them grow up to be honest, respectable, loving, and giving people that they are today. She always kept their best interest at heart and wanted to spend time with each one of them and always wanted the best for them. Her love overflowed for her family. Ruth was also so fortunate to have 7 great-grandchildren: Thomas, Tiffany, Trinity, David, Emmeline, and Selena. She loved having a new baby in the family to love and to see the joy that comes from a new special little one who enters our family. She also took the job of being an aunt very seriously. There isn't a niece or a nephew, a great niece or a great nephew, that didn't ever turn to her for guidance and support during their darkest and their brightest hours. She was a confidant that we all turn to, the one with intelligence backed by sound reasoning and good advice, the one that would take you in and make you a meal and say, "You are always welcome to stay as long as you wish." You would know this by her inability to say goodbye. Whether you were ending a 2-hour phone conversation or pulling away from her house, she would keep saying goodbye and how loved you are until you awkwardly hung up on someone still talking. That is how much she loved her family and her friends. She never wanted the good times to end. She always wanted more of life. She always wanted more adventure, more conversation, more time, more travel, and more togetherness. If you were staying that night, instead of going to bed after hours of catching up, she would make a midnight snack just to keep you going. And in her final years, as she was in assisted living, we often heard her say, as family gatherings would come to an end, how much she wanted the time together to go on and on. Even at 98 years old, 3 weeks before she passed, when eating dinner at Kathleen's, she dreamed the night coming to an end, or she dreaded the night was coming to an end, saddened that we were parting from one another, telling each child and grandchild and great-grandchild what they meant to her. One of Ruth's favorite places was a quaint little village called Niskawen, Oregon, a place with a sense of peace and spiritual feeling. Being the youngest of 6 children, her mother was able to bring her and they could enjoy the vacation together while the older children enjoyed working at home. It soon was a family tradition that brought Ruth fond memories of playing on the beach, and she kept all of those memories for her life. Ruth made it every summer with her own children, planning ahead and renting a cabin every year. When Ruth was 50 years old, she was able to purchase her own little cottage that she returned to as much as possible. For 38 years, Ruth kept her cute place and always looked forward to her family get-togethers and the love of the ocean. After that, Ruth was still able to return and stay in a condo with an ocean view up until the summer of 2018. Almost her entire life was lived with such heart-filled memories. Ruth was a great storyteller. She loved telling the cutest stories, always with a twinkle in her eye. Her adventure for life remained with her as she drove a car in her 90s and kept her love for life strong. She was brave and strong until the very end, handling what life brought her with a proud sense of dignity and a faith that continued to shine. She's a woman all women could look up to. She never asked permission, rather led with confidence and determination in whatever she committed herself to. She bought property, owned a second home, had her own investments, and made wise financial decisions for herself and her family. Her legacy is unmatched in so many ways. However, I think we can all agree that what we will take with us for the remainder of our lives is what she taught through her modeling. That's how good it feels to be loved. How good it feels to hear we are amazing and we are wanted. How good it feels that we are worthy of happiness. Ruth would want you all to know to never hold back sharing with someone the importance of what they mean to you. Every chance you are given. As our time honoring Ruth on this side of heaven, I challenge each of you to practice being vulnerable by opening your heart and choosing love, choosing kindness, choosing to make someone else's day brighter by a kind word or action. And do that in her memory, knowing how amazing it always felt when she painted that picture of you, each stroke more complete, the perfect image of what she saw. With a wink in her eye, you are each perfect. Your unique qualities, your quirks, and your mannerisms. The individuality that you unapologetically bless the world with is 100% perfect. You are perfect. You are loved. Take the challenge by blessing the world with you. Every chance you get, share your heart and share your love with the world. I was initially going to take these notes and write some indications of her life, some characteristics of her life, but I thought it's useless because it's so beautifully written. Lucy, I don't know.
Over here.
Lucy, it's beautiful. You
Thank
and
you.
Kathleen did such a marvelous job. And after reading it, she's affected my life too. These words bring out such a person of who she was, her family, her relationships, what characterized her life and what continued to be her real legacy. And I wish I could have met her. I really wish I didn't miss the opportunity you all had. I hope you realize the gift that you've all received in having her in your life and being in her life. That love that lived in her heart so richly, that love for you that couldn't be tricked. I mean, it was true love for each of you. And she knew that God directed her. She knew that God directed her actions. It says in the Bible that God is a God of comfort and he comforts us so we're able to comfort one another. Well, she truly knew how to comfort one another. And those words you say about living her life forward and practicing those characteristics, that's so very important. Take every little bit that you learned from her and share it with each other. Share it because I'm sure she understood what that amazing grace was. I'm sure she understood, and I hope you understand what that amazing grace enabled her to be. It enabled her to be the caring person she was. She understood she was a true gift from God because of that amazing grace.